And it was 10 years ago today that one of the best in the game accomplished that feat for the 4th time, Nolan Ryan.
The passage of sports time. The moments are brief, but the memories are lasting. Today, we remember one of those moments, and it's brought to you by Prudential. For life, health, auto, home. Get a piece of the rock. Prudential Insurance.
On June 1st, 1975, against the Baltimore Orioles, Nolan Ryan tied the all-time Major League record of 4 no-hitters held by Sandy Koufax. The young man from Alvin, Texas, showed great potential with the New York Mets, displaying a blazing fastball. But after 4 seasons with the Mets, he was traded to the American League and the California Angels. There, Nolan Ryan proceeded to lead the league in strikeouts his first 3 seasons, averaging over 350 per year. Nolan then achieved every pitcher's dream, a no-hitter against the Kansas City Royals on May 15, 1973. The 26-year-old fireballer notched no-hitter number 1 and showed signs that there may be more to come. Two months later in Detroit, he struck out 17 Tigers that day as Norm Cash popped out to shortstop Rudy Maioli for the final out and no-hitter number 2. Making Nolan Ryan only the 5th man to pitch 2 no-hit, no-run games in the same season. No-hitter number 3 was more than a year later against the Minnesota Twins on September 28, 1974. But no-hitter number 4 had him sharing the spotlight with the Dodgers' Sandy Koufax, and Nolan's mission became no-hitter number 5.
When I had 4, I was tied with Sandy Koufax, and so once I tied Koufax, I made it a goal of mine to try to throw my 5th no-hitter, or hope to throw my 5th no-hitter. You don't go out trying to throw no-hitters, but I was in hopes that that would happen.
This may be it.
It was hard to believe that I finally accomplished it, because I guess if there's one thing I wanted to do in my career was pitch that 5th one since I've had a shot at it, and I've had a shot at it for a long time. And at my age, I was really starting to think that I probably wouldn't get it, because I've gotten into late innings before. Even twice this year I went into the 7th with a no-hitter going, and I just didn't seem to have that stamina that I used to have to put somebody away.
But it was Nolan Ryan's no-hitter number 4 10 years ago today.
The Rock
On a day that saw Carlos Santos successfully defend his IBF junior middleweight title via a unanimous decision over Louis Acarius, a fight that was not one of the thrillers of the year in the world of boxing, and the apparent strategy of Acarius going peekaboo style, starting in very low-key fashion at the start, did not pan out.
He was waiting for Santos to get tired. He simply didn't get tired, and it was really down to a man who can punch with a great deal of reflexive ability against a man who has to think before he punches, and he wasn't thinking fast enough.
So from a fight of inactivity to a bout that had its moments 2 weeks ago on the undercard of the Larry Holmes, Carl the Truth Williams heavyweight title fight, Randy Tex Cobb, a man who felt the fist of Holmes several years ago, went up against Eddie Gregg, and Tex, off his many TV talk show appearances, may be better known to the American public for his one-liners. Dick Enberg recently spent some time with Tex Cobb.
You had your motion picture success, and they're talking about series, NBC, Riptide. You've got a career there. You're obviously a colorful character. There are other things to do. Why do you continue to fight?
Well, I think it probably improves my looks. Basically, it takes these finely chiseled features and kind of smooths them right out.
Okay, Tex, it's tough to keep a straight face talking with you. I know you're going to be very serious about this. A little word association. I'll give you a name or an item, and you react just off the top of the head. Larry Holmes.
Class cat. Got a good jab, moves well. Unquestioned courage, fights well hurt.
Jerry Cooney.
Nice white boy. No, Jerry ain't a bad sort. Show love to get that boy in the ring, though.
Muhammad Ali.
There's an individual that's done more for this game than anybody that I can think of off the top of my head. Muhammad Ali is, he's without question the greatest showman this game has ever had.
The Rock, Marciano.
Now, there is a boy not to get in a barroom brawl with. I'm telling you right now, this sucker going to be there all day and night and ain't had enough. He is an incredible individual. His record speaks for itself. And for a guy, you got to remember, this cat was like 5'11", 185 pounds, and just had a britches full of nasty.
But karate.
Well, it don't pay. Why it doesn't pay as good to kick somebody as it does to punch somebody, which is why we're sitting here talking.
Okay, now here's the big one. Marv, Albert, and Ferdy Pacheco.
God love them. Thank you, America.
Freddie, what do you think he meant by that laughter?
I think Tex knows we need all the help we can get.
All right, this is round 9 of a scheduled 10-rounder. Eddie Gregg, 30 years old, out of Kew Gardens, Queens, on the right, and that is Tex Cobb on the left. Tex out of Abilene, Texas, comes in at 29-5, 20 by knockout. Gregg is 21-1, 18 by KO. His only loss stopped by James Broad in round number 8.
Up to this point, at the beginning of this fight was all a Tex Cobb fight. All face forward, elbows, stepping on feet, doing everything that he does. He carries the fight to his opponent. Gregg just patiently waited him out. And toward the end of the 5th or 6th, things began to change. Gregg began to find the range, and he has been inflicting heavy penalty on Tex Cobb.
And there goes Cobb to the canvas, and this, the first time in his professional boxing career, that does not include his karate career, incidentally, that Cobb has gone down.
Or any of his barroom brawls, or domestic difficulties. That was the first time. I think it was a new experience for him, and Tex rightfully is considering a career change following that knockdown. I think he understands that boxing is not any more fun for him.
We are halfway through round number 9. This taking place 2 weeks ago on the undercard of the Larry Holmes, Carl the Truth Williams heavyweight title fight in Reno, Nevada.
And you can see a very weary Tex Cobb. That is unattorney-like talk from the district attorney, Mills Lane, who does a superb job refereeing. He's such an authority.
And less than a minute left in this 9th round. Eddie Gregg's last fight this past February stopped Carlos Hernandez in the first round. Cobb had an interesting bout in his last appearance in the ring this past March. Lost to Michael Dokes in what was called a double split decision. Fight stopped in the 4th round because of a deep gash over Dokes' right eye caused by an accidental butt by Cobb. And with Dokes leading on 2 of the 3 cards, awarded a technical decision.
Just about everything has happened to Randy Tex Cobb in boxing that can happen to one man.
Cobb walking around Reno wearing a T-shirt that says, "I'm the person your mother warned you about." So final seconds, 9th round, and Eddie Gregg went on to win by unanimous decision over Randy Tex Cobb. Coming up in 2 weeks on Sportsworld, Sunday, June 16th, lightweights Frankie Randall and former champ Edwin Rosario. This is Marv Albert with Ferdy Pacheco. In a moment, Bill McAtee back at our studios in New York.
This preview today, we want to update you on action this afternoon in Major League Baseball. First of all, in Detroit, the California Angels hang on to their lead in the American League West, beating the Tigers by a score of 9-2. Sparky Anderson has watched his Tigers fall behind Toronto and Baltimore in the East. Angels got out quickly. In the 2nd, Bob Boone with his first home run of the year, a 2-run shot, and quickly it was 2-0 California. Angels added to that in the 4th. Gary Pettis with his first home run of the year also, a 3-run home run to the opposite field, and California goes on to win by a score of 9-2. In Toronto, the Blue Jays with the best record in baseball beat Cleveland. The Indians are struggling, 8-3 the final. In Boston, the Red Sox shut out the Rangers 6-0. Boston used the long ball today. Tony Armas with his 14th home run of the year. He leads the majors. Rich Getz had a grand slam. And in St. Louis, the Reds beat the Cardinals 9-3. Player manager Pete Rose moves 2 hits closer to tie Cobb's all-time record. And a partial score, the Giants lead the Phillies 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Now, earlier today on our baseball pregame show, Donald Fair, the director of the Major League Players Association, and Lee McPhail, who heads the Owners Player Relations Committee, talked with us about the possibility of a player strike. Here's Donald Fair.
I really don't want to comment. I hope it's going to end up to be very unlikely. I would like nothing better than to have an agreement wrapped up ahead of time. What will happen is that after I complete my review of the current situation with the players on all 26 clubs, the board will then consider when to set a strike date. They will probably make that judgment 10 days either side of July the 1st, and no options have been foreclosed as of this point, nor have any decisions been made.
All right, tomorrow here on NBC, you'll get a chance to see the final round of the LPGA Championship from Kings Island, Ohio, outside of Cincinnati. Nancy Lopez was the leader after the second round, but today dropped into a tie with Alice Miller at 8 under. Pat Bradley is next at 6 under par. Nancy was the subject of a bit of controversy earlier this week when she was penalized for slow play. She and her caddy Dee were upset about the penalty, and Nancy talked about her reaction when told of the penalty.
Very emotional about anything, and when he said that, I felt like somebody just punched me in the face because I had played so well all day, and then got the 2 shots, and I started crying. And I walked to the tee and really wanted to have a fit. Controlled myself for a while because I tried to tell Dee that we had just gotten a 2-shot penalty, and it took us 83 seconds to hit that shot, and he didn't believe it either.
Nancy Lopez. Now, we want to apologize to those of you waiting to see the drag racing today. Because of the length of the baseball games, drag racing will be shown on Sportsworld at a later date. Tomorrow on NBC, beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, the LPGA Championship from Kings Island, Ohio, outside of Cincinnati, and French Open tennis. We hope you'll be with us tomorrow. Have a good evening. Good night from all of us here at NBC Sports.